And you've been to Texas before this, probably on tour.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. This is probably. I don't even know how many times I've been to Texas. A lot, a lot of times.
Is there anything about Texas audiences that are unique or that stand out, or is it all just sort of
There's a thing about
similar crowd?
Texan people, I think, are very warm and welcoming and loving, and everyone wants to invite you around for dinner, whoever you are. I remember the first gig I did on my American tour, I was in a lift, and a couple walked in and just started talking to me. And in England, if people start talking to you, they're probably going to rob you if you don't know them. So I was really kind of like very wary of them to begin with. And then they were like, right, see y'all later. And then and I was like, oh.
You're like, wait, you didn't want something from me?
They were just being nice. So yeah, I really like that about Texans.
Yeah. So where's home now at this point? You're
still where it was. Yeah. Still where I grew up. I was considering moving to America, and I don't even spend more than a week in my own house in England. So yeah, I can't really justify living here.
Yeah. Let's see. Do you have any pre-show rituals before you go on stage?
No. I'm usually doing promo and meet and greets right up until I go on. So that's probably the pre-show ritual.
Right. So it's just business, and then up there.
Yeah.
I would say you famously did a ton of club gigs before you were discovered in LA. What was sort of like the worst gig you ever played? Like the sort of lowest gig that you're just like, oh my god, I can't believe.
There's a gig in a place called Exeter, which isn't starting off. Isn't the best place anyway. And I remember it was a paid gig. And I got £50 for that gig, which is like $65, $70, and. But the ticket down there was £80, so I was kind of like, right, I'm getting paid for it, but I know I can get there and sell CDs, so that will probably like help the train fare out. Got down there, sound checked, empty venue, just me and the sound engineer, and we waited, and it was time for me to go on. No one was in. He said, you can wait another 10 minutes. No one was on. You can wait another 10 minutes. No one was. Blah 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 blah. I ended up waiting about an hour, and then thought, fuck it, I'll just go on. Played the gig to him, and then went to the train station. Realised I'd missed the last train back to London. It's like a 4-hour train to London. So just waited there until 5 a.m. playing Pokemon.
So you just serenaded the sound engineer, basically?
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. That wasn't the thing that pissed me off though, because I played gigs all the time to empty rooms. It was the fact that I'd waited and then missed my train and had to sit in a cold train station for like 7 hours doing nothing.
At the other end of the spectrum, what's been sort of the most greatest decadent rock star moment that you've had, experience that you've had so far, on stage or off?
Getting up and playing with Beyonce was pretty that's the only point I've felt like a rock star, you know, because in my own shows I'm still quite an awkward British dude with an acoustic guitar, but when you're on stage with Stevie Wonder's band, Gary Clark Jr. and Beyonce, and they give you an electric guitar to play, that's when you can feel a bit like a bit rocky. But other than that, I'm just a kind of sort of like a troubadour type. So that's the time I've really felt. Yeah. Like
so that electric guitar moment did give you an urge to do more music in that direction that could give you more moments like that?
If I'd have to get a band for that, and I don't want to get a band because I enjoy playing on my own. Yeah. Have you ever been tempted to do like just sort of more like a? Do you think that you'll ever do an album that's just like a pure like R&B album, or a pure like a rap record or something that's sort of? Well, I go into every album wanting to make them just one genre, but I don't know. I find that dull. I find that when I buy albums and they're just one thing. It's nice to put on the background. It's definitely, and there's usually one great song on there, but it just doesn't keep my attention for the whole time. Whereas like, one of my favourite albums is the Marshall Mathers LP by Eminem, and there's so many like waves and dips and just different sounds on that. It just makes it interesting for me anyway. So I like that. And it's the same if you listen to any Michael Jackson record or any Stevie Wonder record. It's not all in one style. They're all very different sort of things. Or Van Morrison. So yeah, I go into I'm going into this next record wanting to make an R&B record, but I know it will end up being a kind of mixture of everything I'm into.
I didn't see it from at least a casual Google search. Have you met Eminem at this point? Because
No.
I know you've been a big fan of his? You referenced
No,
his work
there was an opportunity to. I went to SNL with Rick Rubin when they did that together, and there was an opportunity to. And I said to Rick, "Will he know who I am?" And Rick said, "Unless you're an underground rapper from Detroit, he won't." So I'm just gonna wait. I met. I really wanted to meet Jay-Z, and I met him at the perfect point where he was aware, so I could go into a conversation and have a conversation rather than just be the dude that takes a picture. So I'm going to wait for that with them.
Is there a sort of a dream rapper that you would want to do a collaboration with on a song, or would it be on that?
Well, for me, my favorite rapper to listen to is The Game. I really, he's a very emotive rapper. It's very you feel everything he says, and he's my go-to to listen to, and I ended up making a whole album with him that I hope sees the light of day soon. We need to mix it, but yeah, that was fun and very out of the ordinary for both of us.
You mentioned that you're working on your next album. And the last one, I think you said you wrote 120 songs for. Do you think that you'll be writing that many or more or less?
Well, I've done 40 for this one, maybe more than 40 for this one, maybe like 50 already, and I'm not planning to release it for another year and a half. So yeah, I want to do a few, because there's even more pressure now for this album, because there was pressure on the second album to do well because it was the second album, but because the second album has done better than the first. There's now more pressure because labels have their big releases once a year that boost up their bonuses. And I was last year, Bruno will be this year, then I'll be next year. And when you have a whole company depending on kind of one thing, it's and if I don't release the goods, it's gonna be awkward. And then the next album, people aren't gonna have as much faith.
So it sounds like that year and a half is not so much for an artistic reason, but more like a strategic reason on your part in terms of waiting that amount of time.
Not really, no. I'm waiting.
Do you think it's going to take that long to?
No, I could probably put it out this year, but I haven't taken a break in between the first and second album. We've been touring both albums for 5 years without a break. So it is a strategic thing, but just from a sanity thing, I actually want to go and live in the house that I bought because I haven't lived in it yet. Yeah.
Do you have a title picked out?
No.
Is our minus and divided or divide like off the table, or are those too reductive, or
they're the two choices. That's the thing. They're the two choices, but I don't know what direction the album's going to go in yet, because every title has its own theme. Yeah. So Multiply was called Multiply because it made everything that was on Plus bigger, from the venues to the songs to the radio play to the sales. So I don't know what the theme of the next album is yet because I haven't made it, but I've written songs. I wasn't sure because both first album and second album imply a certain amount of growth, and both minus and divide are sort of reducing. I don't know if you'd be like worried about that. No, because it depends which way you looked at them. Like my idea for Subtract was to not have anything on it, just be an acoustic record. Right. So not necessarily say, I'm going to take away from my fan base, but rather than take away from the music. So that was not the music, of the production. So it's those themes are not necessarily negative ones. Right.
Let's see, the Think Out Loud video was such a huge moment for you. Were you sort of worried at the time about sort of being able to pull off that what you're required to do in that video?
No, but the label really were. It's
they
funny.
had more doubt than you did.
Well, yeah, but it's funny how many people take credit for your stuff after the fact. But no one ever wanted that to be a single at all. Photograph was always the one that people thought was the big song, and then when I wanted to do the dance for it, everyone thought I was crazy to do that as well. But I think if you put your mind to anything, you can do it. Anything. And I had 3 weeks and 2 very, very capable dancers and teachers on tour with me, and we just practiced 5 hours a day straight.
You like challenging yourself in and growing yourself in different ways, is there another skill that you sort of have your eye on, in terms of instrument you'd like to play, or anything that you'd like to sort of master? Now that you've
well, my first
done
instrument was the piano, and then I lost touch with that. So I'd love to get back to that. I think it'd be good to play the piano. It seems like one thing I'm missing from my body.
The Sing video, your puppet doppelganger partying in the backseat of the limo, being fawned on by the half dozen models. It's funny because that's such the rock star stereotype, and I just can't help but wonder, has that ever been the reality for you?
Or in a limo with models?
Yeah.
No. The last limo I was in was with my team. And they booked a bright pink limo. It was a radio show, and I remember seeing the car and being like, I'm not turning up to a radio station in a limo, let alone a pink limo. Like, let's just get a taxi. But yeah, so no, I think you can easily live the rock star stereotype, but it's a once in a while thing, because if you do it all the time, it loses value, loses its excitement.
Does it?
Yeah. Like, so we do it. I don't know. Like, we'll have a blowout once every 3 months, and we'll do it properly rather than do a blowout every night, because you burn out doing that as well.
Right.
Yeah.
You sold out 3 nights in Wembley Stadium, which is incredible. I mean, it's like Oasis, at peak sort of level accomplishment. I mean, what does that mean to you as an artist?
Well, I did it for the same reason that I did the put on the Madison Square Garden shows, literally because no one thought I could do them. So it's again a strategic thing where you place yourself. I'm bowing out on this album, going out on stadiums. So on the next album, I can come back and I'm a serious contender. And like I think because I'm not necessarily a star, I don't get the benefit of the doubt from TV shows or radio stations or something, because they'll see someone like Lady Gaga come in and be like, oh, well, we'll give her everything, and then I'll come in and kind of. I remember I was on a TV show in England where she was being interviewed and I was playing the music, and she suddenly decided she wanted to play a song, so the TV show booted me off for the next week. And and that wasn't even that long ago. So I feel like there's a misconception of me as an artist not being that successful. So I wanted to tell the world, actually, here's 3 Wembley Stadium gigs that are sold out, and I'll see you on the next album. And the same here with doing the Gillette Stadium in Foxborough, we're doing the stadium run in Australia. I want to bow out on this album as big as it gets, and then on the next album people are going to take it more seriously.
I mean, is there a level that you feel that you're sort of like, if I get to that level, then I'll be like satisfied?
Well, I think at the moment, Taylor is the benchmark in America, definitely, and a lot of other countries. So for me in America, I want to catch up with her.
If you surpassed her in sales, would she be like, good for you, or would she be kind of like,
well, I don't
she
think.
Be like,
I think
she's pretty competitive as well.
Yeah. Well, I think it would take a long. It would take me a lot more work, because she's obviously been going about 10 years more than me, so it would take a lot more work from my part to surpass in sales. But I think the thing that it would do is she'd then get more competitive and like do more stuff, and then I think it would only be healthy. It would only like the competition right now with her surpassing me in sales in the US. That's healthy for me, because I now want to get up to that point. So if it was the other way around, I assume it would be the other way.
Did she teach you anything about commanding a large crowd when she started touring with her?
It's a different thing. She came through the country route, and I came through the kind of weird troubadour singer-songwriter playing solo route. So there's 2 different ways of commanding a crowd in those situations, and her show is very it's very big and very impressive and theatrical. Like it's very much sort of Cirque du Soleil. Look, very impressive dancers, amazing band. Whereas my show's a bit like there's not a lot in it. It is just me and a guitar. So there's different ways of working an audience, and she's practiced her way and got it down, and I practiced my way and got it down. But there's not too many crossovers.
How do you make it so that the people like in the nosebleed seats in Wembley Stadium, still get a great show, when you're...
Well, there's a rapper in England called Wretch32, and I remember when I was considering getting a band, he was like, you don't need to get a band. And I said, why don't I need to get a band? And he said, well, when I do shows, all people want to do is come and sing your song back to you. They just want to scream it at you and have a good time because they love your songs. So just play the songs and get them to sing. So my way of entertaining is just making sure that everyone is involved at all times, and just sing and dance and have fun. I mean, and the production behind you can add to the value of the show. But like in reality, if I went to a U2 show, obviously I'm going to see Bono sing, but I want to sing just as loud as Bono. That kind of thing.
Right. What's your favorite kind of food?
Does it make me sound like a dick if I say sushi?
No.
Because I find like saying that makes me sound very, very LA. But I do really like it.
Yeah.
Or I mean, pizza works in all. Pizza's kind of like sex. Like even when it's bad, it's alright.
What's what I ask next? Oh, yeah. You've done a lot of covers. Is there a cover that you've tried that you just like tried it and you're just like yeah that's just not gonna work?
I covered that OT Genesis Coco song. I didn't think that worked, but then someone remixed it and put a it's kind of like an ambient trap beat behind it, and it sounded really cool. So he made it work.
Is there a song you're most proud of at this point?
For me, the A-Team, but just because it won an award in England called the Ivor Novello, and like there's Grammys, there's Brit Awards, there's Billboard Awards, there's all these big awards, they're all these big televised things. Who knows whether they're set up or not, or who does favours for different things? It's like some are legit and some aren't. But this award is run by songwriters, voted by songwriters. Like Paul McCartney would be on the panel. Voted by songwriters, not televised. 200 people go. There's only 3 awards a year, and it's like the coveted thing. And A-Team was up against Adele, Rolling in the Deep, and someone like you.
So it was because it's your peers voting, no bullshit, straight up,
And
one among people.
I went thinking Adele would win.
No.
Because she wins everything.
You mentioned McCartney. Would you want to eventually? Could you imagine yourself eventually, settling down with like a farm and farm animals and just doing that sort of, sedate, more country life eventually?
Of course, but I don't think McCartney does that. He's always on tour.
Yeah.
I think when he's not on tour, he does that. But I think I'd like to do that. Tour when you want to tour. I had breakfast with Van Morrison in Belfast, and his thing was really cool. He was just like, I don't fly anywhere other than the UK now. When I play shows, when I want to play shows, so he'll literally just ring up his agent and be like, right, I want to play a gig, and then go and play a gig. He's not tied into doing anything he doesn't want to do.
What have you learned about incorporating personal life into lyrics so far?
That's the key. Just be as open as possible. Never hide the truth from your audience because they want to hear you stripped. They don't want to. They want to hear no one wants to hear the abridged version of anything. If Eminem had made that song Kim and made it so it wasn't so shocking, no one would have liked it.
Yeah.
Because he was so bare and so sort of like honest that it worked. So if you're gonna be a songwriter, wear your heart on your sleeve and don't worry.
Now, did you get offered to do like hook up people's like marriage proposals and that sort of thing?
We get asked every single day.
Wow.
And we always say no, just because it's I think if it's planned, it looks planned. Whereas if it's spontaneous, it's a bit more. Oh shit, this is quite cool.
No.
Yesterday we had a spontaneous one, and the dude just sitting second row.
Yeah.
Every now and then he pulled out a banner that just says "propose" on stage, and he closed it. And halfway through the gig, I was like, "Fuck it, come up on stage." His girlfriend had no idea. She thought he was dragging him up for her to sing. So that was cool, and I felt something because of that, because it was so spontaneous. I got emotional watching it. Whereas if it was planned, I'd know it was happening, and then it would happen, and it would be like, oh well, that's happened now. Let's carry on with the gig. Whereas if it's much with anything, I used to, when the venues were smaller, I used to pick up bands from the front row to come and sing on stage and sing harmonies, and that was always quite fun to just, because if they were amazing, it was really surprising, and if they weren't, it was quite funny. So it's it just depends.
Let's see. You recently named the most popular European artist on Spotify, and second only in streams in the US to Eminem, who we talked about earlier. Let's see.
You want to ask about streaming?
Yeah.
Everyone wants to know about
you could see me sort of segueing into that. Yeah. My editor had a few questions. You're also at the top of the Spotify sleep list. I mean, do you have a feeling about that?
I get asked that a lot as well, because people think it's offensive, but if I'm top of the Spotify list in general, of course I'm going to be top of the Spotify sleep list, because it's essentially one of the lists that's on Spotify. So if I'm top of the whole thing,
right,
I'll be top of the other things.
Right.
So it's not offensive at all.
Yeah. There has been a lot of debate over streaming. Do you think musicians are compensated enough?
Elton John played Wembley Stadium in 1982, and the tickets were £2.50. I'm playing Wembley Stadium, and the tickets are £150.
Yeah.
So if we're not compensated on streaming, we are compensated on the live shows, which are now priced enough that we can make more than enough doing live, and streaming adds to it. Like, I haven't really sold any records in Norway because streaming is Norway. They don't really do records. iTunes isn't really a thing. Spotify is the chart there, and Multiply was #1 for 26 weeks there. Right. So I can go back there and play a stadium now. So, if I didn't have my songs on Spotify, I wouldn't be able to go and play a stadium there, and I wouldn't be playing stadiums if I didn't have my songs on Spotify. It's readily available for people to get, and I think the compensation thing is a problem, because we still not so much for me or other artists that have managed to make a decent living, but it's more the thing that I'm pissed off about in terms of revenue from streaming or even record sales is the people that miss out on it are the next generation, right? Because like I benefited from James Blunt selling records, or Plan B selling records, or Paolo Nutini selling records, because that was put into my marketing campaign. Whereas if there's not a massive revenue from these artists now, the next generation aren't going to have the same opportunities. So that's the only thing. And I think Spotify works for some people and it doesn't work for others. Taylor chose not to put her album on Spotify, and it's the biggest selling album in the world. So that definitely works. I'm just saying, for me, I love playing live, and I want when I make an album, I want it to be on as many people's music systems as it can be, because I didn't. Taylor already has a massive audience, so she can guarantee that people are going to listen to the album. But on my second album, I didn't want to. I wanted everyone to hear it. I didn't want to kind of stop anyone from hearing it. So it's just readily out there, and it's also I read the other day it's the most legally downloaded album ever. So that's
really
that's interesting. I don't know if that's a compliment or not.
What kind of music do you think you'll be making 10 years from now?
I don't know, because I think if you'd have asked Taylor that question 10 years ago, when she was making country, she wouldn't have known either. I think it just goes with your tastes as you grow up. I don't know, I might end up making heavy metal music, you never know. So that was my first music I got into was heavy metal. I had Tool, Slipknot, and Mudvayne albums, so it's yeah, you can never really tell.
Have you seen the Kurt Cobain documentary yet?
Mm-mm.
Oh my god, it's amazing.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, oh, it's fantastic. It's amazing.
When did it come out?
It just came out on HBO.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think it premiered at some film festival and now it's on HBO. And
We've been sent the Amy Winehouse one to watch. Apparently that's incredible.
He just got amazing access to all his diaries and his you know personal home footage, and it's riveting.
I'll check it out. Is it 20 years from his death then?
Is it? Yeah, that feels about right, doesn't it? Yeah. Yeah. This is probably a really common artist question, but I didn't see it in the interviews I've read of yours, so I'll ask it anyway. You know, is there something to the idea that being single or being in and out of relationships is better for a writer of romantic music than somebody to be in like a, you know, to be married or whatnot? Do you think that fuels something?
I don't know.
That you know, to have a certain amount of chaos there.
I wrote Thinking Out Loud in a relationship.
Yeah.
At, you know, a really, really happy point.
Yeah.
But most songs that I've written have been in bad places.
Yeah.
So I think but if my most successful song was written in a happy place, maybe that's the key. I can't remember who was saying it to me, but they were saying that if you can, I think it was the guy John McClure from Revenant and the Makers, who are a band from England. If you can write a happy song that isn't cheesy, it'll be the biggest hit in the world. And I was kind of like, what? And then he said, look at Uptown Funk and look at Happy by Pharrell. Both songs are really well written, not cheesy at all, and they're both the biggest songs in the world. And I think yeah, if you can, everyone wants to hear happy songs, but sad songs get written more because more people are sad than happy, I think. Malcolm Gladwell put out this theory that takes 10,000 hours of doing anything to master it, and you use the Beatles as an example of all the hours that they put in clubs. Do you think there's something to that you need to? I read that when I was 13.
Yeah.
Because John Mayer used to talk about it.
Oh, really? Interesting.
So that's why. Yeah, that's what I did. Exactly that, and I think it's true. I think it's true. I think I'm coming up to 10,000 hours now, and and I'm now a professional musician, so I think it definitely does work.
Do you have a favorite brand of T-shirt? I'm asking it mainly for myself because I love T-shirts, and I know you love T-shirts.
Oh, as in like?
Yeah, if a favorite maker of T-shirts or whatever.
Element. Yeah,
I will check that out.
I grew up just wearing skate clothes, so so Element was a big one. But I haven't worn Element in a while, just because it's easier just to wear a plain black T-shirt. If you're going on TV, no one can blur anything out. So I just wear plain black and plain white.
Let's see. Is there anything I sort of didn't touch on or didn't ask about, and you're like, he'd be smart if he asked about this?
No, your interviews, your questions have been really interesting. Good. Yeah, they've been good. I'm open to any more if you want to do any silly ones.
Let's see, silly ones.
Is there anything you were told you couldn't ask? Because you can ask that if you want.
Really? I think there is a couple. She when I was talking to Ed, she was just like, he might be sensitive to that.
I'm not a very sensitive soul.
Let's see. Yes. Somebody submitted me a friend's coworker submitted me a question. I'm like, I'm gonna ask him. let's see if we can find it. Does he regret letting slip that who the song "Don't" was about?
I never let it slip.
Okay.
What happened was the Sun, or was it the Daily Mail? one of those newspapers in
Yeah.
England just printed that it was confirmed.
Yeah.
And when it never was.
Yeah.
And then we got in touch and they took the story down, but obviously damage had already been done by that point.
Yeah.
Because every other newspaper had picked up on it. And
Right.
you can't get the internet all taken down. So I never actually confirmed it. Yeah. That's an interesting one because it's the argument I was talking about earlier between being honest or just writing songs for them to be successful. And I had to be as honest as possible in that song, otherwise what's the fucking point? Like there'd be no anger or pain in that song if it was just very sweet and nice. And,
Right.
you know, the whole reason that people connected to it is everyone's been that angry at one point. Everyone's hated their partner or spouse and just been like, oh, don't fuck with this, or, so it's it was for me it needed to be done. It didn't necessarily have to go on the album, but it definitely needed to be written.
Yeah. Are there any songs sort of along those lines involving people that the public may know that are sort of in the works for your next album that you're sort of considering?
Sing,
I mean,
Sing,
you have like 40 drafts at this point.
Sing was about someone that the public may know, and no one even know.
And no one picked up on it?
Yeah, but no one would know who it was either. It was a very I kept that really secret, but but yeah, that was that was, and she's aware as well because I met one of her mates, and they were like, oh yeah, no, sings about her, right? And I was like, yeah. But yeah, I didn't tell anyone.
Oh, that's funny. Let the speculation begin on that one.
But yeah, on the next album there's a couple.
Yeah.
But a couple that were meant for this album that didn't make it.
Yeah. Has there been anything that you've ever put in a song that you sort of regretted? You're just like, if I could change that, I probably would. But now I have to,
There's a song called
sing it a couple nights a week.
Oh, it's not. I don't sing it though. That's the thing. There's a song called "The Man" on this record.
Yeah.
And again, it's a similar thing to "Don't." It was just raw, brutal, and when I wrote it, I felt that way.
Yeah.
And I don't feel that way anymore. I don't really feel that way with "Don't" either. But "The Man's" something that I had to do, but probably didn't have to put out. Yeah.
Here's another one. She said, "Probably don't ask." At this point in your career, would it ever be possible to date a fan? Is that even?
Well, I think the thing that's impossible to do is date someone that isn't aware that I make music. I think that's the thing that's impossible to do now. So whether they're a fan or not,
right,
that changes people's perceptions
of
you. So I think that's the thing that's impossible to do. Unless I date one of my school friends. I cannot date someone that knows me without me being a musician, because as soon as I left school, that's when I started becoming a musician. So everyone I met from the age of 16 knows me as the artist name rather than just me as a person. So it isn't. Yeah.
Though I guess I meant more of a civilian, as opposed to a sort of accomplished other person within your sphere.
Well, I was in a relationship for a year and a half with someone that she worked for Jamie Oliver, and it wasn't. I don't know. And then before that, I dated a primary school teacher. So yeah. I don't really date people in my sphere. Yeah. We'll see.
Let's see. Is there anyone that's like a celebrity that you haven't met that you're like, that would be sort of the ultimate to meet that person, somebody you really respect or like?
I sent an email today to Bruce Springsteen.
Well-timed question, I guess. Really? Yeah. So just
I've never met him.
Yeah.
I found out yesterday my agent knew him, and I was just like, give me his email, I'm inviting him to the show. So let's hope he comes down. But he's someone I'd love to meet. Yeah. But you don't ask, you don't get. Yeah. So yeah, I just sent him an email being like, come to a show, I'm playing here.
Yeah. Let's see. You're very disciplined and goal oriented. I mean, is there anything that you sort of do every day in terms of your routine, whether like health or fitness or whatever, or mental or meditate, or is there anything like that you do to sort of keep your head on straight?
We all drink a lot of tea and smoke a lot of cigarettes. That's what my whole team do. It's just a constant. Yeah. I stopped for a long time. I stopped for a long time, and yeah, it's quite when your whole team smoke. It's you can. I stopped because I was away from them. Then you come back on it and you get back into the routine. So yeah, there's that. We always usually have a drink after a show, even if it's just a glass of wine before bed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, the photographers will kill me if I take up any more of your times. I'm sure they'll want to get some shots as well, right?
I'm all finished now, so you can have anything.
Yeah. We're gonna reshoot that.
Yeah.
We're gonna start here in this corner, but
Cool.
I'm actually getting you another plate of food.
yeah.
See, I was going to suggest that.
Yeah.
I was going to suggest that because that had to be eaten.
I saw it in your. I know I saw it in your face. I was like, we got to get another plate.
Well, because I ate before the show yesterday, but I didn't eat after the show because they didn't end up getting food. So I was just starving as soon as I woke up, and I was like, no, I'm going to get barbecue. I'll wait.
You're holding that tray. You're like,
Yeah. That was all right.
The Texas tea?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was all right.
Yeah.
not too sweet.
What makes it Texas tea?
Isn't it just a lot of sugar?
I think it's just sugar. Maybe sometimes they flavor it a little bit like peach, or something, or some syrup or something. I guess it depends how they make it.
I had some rock for the first time yesterday. That was fucking great.
Ciroc?
Diddy smashed it.
It's like vodka made from grapes.
Flavored vodka, yeah. Peach.
No, they make
Oh,
it whatever.
yeah.
They make it just plain too. It's just made from grapes instead
It's
of.
good. It's good with flavour though.
I've had a few of those.
Yeah. I heard that they pay for all of Diddy's flights as well, so he doesn't pay for private jets anymore, and they pay for everything.
Wow.
Pretty cool.
Yeah.
Travels for free and stuff. That's the way. I should buy an alcohol company.
You should.
What are you talking about, Siri? There we go, something like that. It's
Well, the girl that was the voice of Siri was at the gig yesterday.
Seriously?
Yeah.
How'd you know?
Because she's verified, and I get updates when anyone verified tweets about me. Know what I'm saying?
Oh.
Yeah, about that verified life, about that blue tick. Yeah, blue tick life.
We got a drink glass on the table just for the heck of it.
Sweet tea.
All right, couple more of these. So there we go. Awesome. Alright. Give me more animation if you got it. Hold it over to the side again. Just the chicken. Hold the chicken over to the side and look at me. Hold it up like this. Just like this. Yep. Cool. Cool. Awesome. That's perfect. Yep. Hold that right there. Give me a good expression, like something a little silly. Yep. Fun. Good.
Barbecue. Yeah.